Have to ask the question. And if the answer is no, then the penalty is death. I may very well have to put a bullet in my back of my dad's head. Their views are this. They believe that society is going to collapse on its own or from man-made events, and they want to speed up the collapse of society. And they want to do it through guerrilla warfare tactics. We take out a power grid. We take out a water system by poisoning it. So at that point, I'd gained enough trust to be brought in to the murder plot. You're talking about going and buying catch bags that attach to your AR so it catches the brass so you don't leave it. We're going to leave all of our electronics at a campsite. We're going to go to a pay-by-the-hour motel. We're going to scrub ourselves, make sure there's no dead skin that can come off. When I went back to the office to run the FBI's training, I told everybody, the 19-year-old led carbine training, and it was good. They could get the drop on a lot of average Joes.
And that right there is a retired FBI agent who, before he retired, went on an undercover sting into a homegrown terrorist group right here on U.S. soil. This is a group that not many have heard of. I barely heard of them. You know what I mean? I'm happy that I had seen this video before. I seen this interview a while back, and then I ended up seeing a clip after that made me think about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a video on it right now because I want to alert my people. I want my people to know about these people because it's important that we know. The government, the police don't even know about them. You know what I mean? But let me show you the clip that got us here.
As President Trump just rolled out this memo on countering terrorism and organized political violence, I'm going to do my part. And if we're serious about targeting racial extremists, let's talk about the base. This isn't some online chat room. This is a violent neo-Nazi network. Trump's own FBI infiltrated them back in 2019 and stopped multiple terrorist attacks.
Attacks on black communities, synagogue.
Canada, UK, Australia, they've designated the base as a terrorist organization. Meanwhile, here in America,
nothing.
So if we're really serious about going after domestic extremist President Trump, declare the base what it is, a terrorist, anti-American, racial extremist group.
So, of course, I'm like, what is the base? Like, what is dude talking about? What the fuck? You know what I mean? So I'm like, hold on, I need to look into this. And then I came across these two clips.
This schoolboy firing a crossbow signed up to join one of the world's most notorious terror organizations, practicing taking pot shots. The 15-year-old, whose identity is protected by the courts, joined neo-Nazi group The Base. Banned in Britain, their stated aim is white supremacy through violence. The name, The Base, is literally a translation of the Arabic words Al-Qaeda. The boy sent this picture to other members of the base. The weapon is exactly the same one as one found in his bedroom, a bedroom which police raided and found a litany of neo-Nazi paraphernalia and other weaponry.
El líder de la célula española estaba en contacto directo con el fundador de The Base, quien hace un mes realizó un llamamiento para la consolidación de las células expandidas por varios países y la comisión de ataques terroristas selectivos con el fin de colapsar las instituciones democráticas occidentales.
Now, I don't speak Spanish, but I think he was saying, what the fuck is up with all these big-ass white boys with swastikas? Turning on their head, Nazi paraphernalia we finding in all these houses and shit. Watch your kids. I'm sure that's what he said. I don't speak Spanish. It's a light translation. I seen those two clips and I'm like, oh, this is a worldwide thing. And then it clicked in my head that I remembered, oh, that video that I watched, that interview that I watched, and I saved it. I usually save all type of crazy shit that I watch into a playlist. Because before I even knew I was going to have a YouTube channel or was going to do this in YouTube, I always wanted to spread the message of this video exactly. So I found this is the perfect time to do it. You know what I mean? It all worked out. God's plan type shit. But yeah. Let's get into the actual interview. Let's get into what he actually said. The actual undercover agent. Let's let him speak for himself and what he's seen in these groups in America. The ones who live right on the same street, go to the same school as your kids. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but let's get into it.
Let's talk about the base then. So I guess I hadn't heard of this group or even groups like this prior to hearing you talk about
it. A lot of people have. A lot of law enforcement hasn't.
Explain to people kind of what this group's ideology is and then how you ended up getting into it.
Sure. So the accelerationist white supremacy view goes like this. Number one, they hate the government. So don't think Republican, Democrat, right, left. That's not it. They hate the government. They want a Hitler's Germany. That's what they want, which is what a neo-Nazi usually wants anyway. But with accelerationists, they go about it by different means. An accelerationist is their views are this. They don't believe there's a political solution that can save the white race. They believe that society is going to collapse on its own or from man-made events, and they want to accelerate. They want to speed up the collapse of society because in their mind, when the collapse of society happens, then they can come in, clean house, and have their own ethno-state.
Doesn't that seem like what's happening? Who do we have? I feel like this group has finally wisened up and infiltrated the Republicans right now, because who do we have in office right now? I'm not even talking about Trump. He's his own beast. He's his own thing. But I don't believe that he's some super Nazi. I believe he don't care either way. All he care about is the green. If it's green, he on that team. You know what I mean? So he don't care if he had to be on the team of black people and let them win to get some money. I really feel like that. If it was going to benefit him, he would do it. You know what I mean? Taking that Abraham Lincoln stance that if I could win the war without freeing a single slave, I would do it. But if I can't, fuck it. We got to work with these niggas. You know what I mean? So, but I'm talking about Pete Hegseth, Stephen Miller, people like that. What's the other dude who was on the Epstein Island? I can't think of his name. The one who was lying, saying I went in there with my wife and I was disgusted. Massage table in the living room. I was like, for what? He said the good massages. I stormed out immediately. That nigga, they was like, why'd you take your whole family back to the island 3-4 years later? What? That happened? Then bro started playing dumb real quick. Nah, but really, the people like that are the Nazis. And then we got these billionaires all coming out the closet as Nazis. We got Elon Musk throwing up the hell sig. I think all these people are a part of this base. You know what I mean? And they're taking over the world globally. Or the base has infiltrated and radicalized all these billionaires and all these rich people and put people in positions to get these positions, you know what I mean, of power, like vice president of United States and shit like that. And now they're literally accelerating the downfall of the United States. And the crazy thing is, you know what I mean, this is a crazy ideal for people to have who live in the United States. And we already see it with the J6ers. It's not, because he said it's not your typical Republican Democrat. It's people, it's the ones in the back who's acting like, oh, I'm just all about peace and love. Those are the ones who are really the most racist at heart. They got a whole fucking shrine in their house to Hitler and shit. You know what I mean? It's weird. But that is what I'm talking about. That weird energy, you know what I mean? That weird energy of them taking over, taking us out, you know what I mean? And it's just, we live next to these people, you know what I mean? It's 7th graders and 9th graders being radicalized online to go through these groups, you know what I mean? It's fuck. I know I keep saying, you know what I mean, but you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
That's the idea. And they want to do it through like guerrilla warfare tactics. You're not going to see an accelerationist out on the street in a hood and a robe, or walking down the street with signs protesting and yelling racial slurs. They don't want to do that. They believe, number one, that makes them a mark, lets everybody know who they are, and it does no good. What they believe is, let's do guerrilla warfare tactics. Let's do small attacks, like we take out a power plant or power grid. We take out a water system by poisoning it. You kill lefties. You kill anti-fascists. You kill non-whites. Burn their businesses, stuff like that, slash their tires. Anything to create chaos, to start the downfall of society. So a lot of times when I'm teaching, I say, like, remember that year when everything was being burnt and towns were being, they're sitting up on a hill and they're laughing. They're like, man, we hope the cops start shooting these people start shooting the cops, when we can come in and clean up afterwards. And that is one of the plots we uncovered in that case. But something very similar. They were going to start popping rounds at a Second Amendment gun rally protest that was going to be in January of 2021 in Virginia.
And that year he's referring to, when everything was burning up, I'm sure it's 2020. And it all makes sense, you know what I mean? When you sit back and think about it, these groups have an agenda to cause chaos and cause infighting and cause division. And looking at 2020, how people were saying that there was bricks being dropped off there was people rioting who wasn't even black and doing the most, like, a lot of this was going on. Wouldn't it make sense that they would want to do that they would want to, like, oh, they're having large mass protests, let's go fuck it up and make it seem like they're the ones destroying the cities and doing all this, you know what I mean? Makes a lot of sense. Not saying that that's what happened, but it all checks out. He said they were investigating things like that. I think he just didn't want to throw it on them, but who knows? Second thing is, a lot of black people, and I've seen some Hispanic people, have been coming up hung lately. You know what I mean? And a lot of things that the government and a lot of these people who we talked about earlier, vice presidents and stuff, are trying to put in office, it seems like they're trying to rage bait black people into reacting to their bullshit. You know what I mean? And it seems like none of it is working. You know what I mean? But, and it even seems like, in a way, they're trying to rage bait white people because they're burning down. Well, we don't even got to talk about that, but yeah, it's just a problem. You know what I mean? It's just a problem. These people, we don't know anything about them because our government, like in the video I seen earlier, overseas they take it seriously, and these are full European countries, and they're taking it seriously. You know what I mean? They are rounding them up. They are doing full out investigations. They're on the news, front page news, white supremacist groups. You know what I mean? In America, not a peep about them. I'm sure we all know it's because their skin color is white. It's a lot of these people's politicians' kids. It's a lot of these politicians themselves. It's a lot of these white people who are in power. That's why they keep, and this ain't the only group. There's plenty of them. That's why they keep them on the low. You know what I mean? And then recruiting. He's going to go on to talk about recruiting. Recruiting is crazy. They're just online, like they question you, and then you finally get in. They send you an onboarding video, like this is a fucking job. Like this is a job and you're taking a fucking pre-assessment or some shit like that. Like what the fuck is going on? And then they get them in there and they're getting a lot of kids early. And that's the thing. Like to any white people who might come across this video and you're watching it, watch out for these things. You know what I mean? Not because you don't want your kid trapped in that hateful, and he's gonna go deeper into not just this group but other groups and their ideals and the things that they want to do and what they talk about, they foresee for the future. And trust me, white women, you ain't safe. If you think getting down with these niggas is safe, it ain't safe for you. You know what I mean? But hey, you can't save them. Let them do them. Let's get into the next part.
Propaganda video for recruitment. And once I got in the group, the standard was this. Every video we did for propaganda had to be better than the last one. That was the rule. It's got to be better than the last one. Got to be bigger and better to recruit more. So I answered. And after about a week or so of going back and forth in emails, being drilled and grilled on all kinds of things, I'm answering them. And then I was told to download the Wire app and hit their moniker, and I got my moniker. And I ended up doing, it was the July of 2019, I did about an hour and 15-minute panel interview on Wire. I mean, it's probably like four, I think I've counted like 4 or 5 voices. I knew the leader's voice. He went by the monikers Roman Wolf and Norman Spears. Roman Wolf and Norman Spears. His real name is Ronaldo Nazzaro. An American citizen, Army, Intel, had some kind of contracting job with the Department of Justice at one point. Villanova grad, but somewhere in there took a radicalization turn and now resides in St. Petersburg, Russia, with a Russian wife and Russian kids. And I would bet, even though I'm retired, I would bet he's still on a no-fly list.
And that's something we got to talk about, the white supremacist or the military to white supremacist pipeline. And on the black side, the military to Republican pipeline. You know what I mean? It seems like there's something in the military that's either radicalizing them. But I've heard stories of people saying that the military helped them get over their racism by having to be around other groups of people and having to break down some of those stereotypes. You think about it, man, put your life in other groups of people's hands. You know what I mean? So, it can go either way. But I do want to point out that he was saying the leader was military trained. You know what I mean? And that's one thing about us as black people. We got a lot of young military age black men that are out here. They're training themselves, you know what I mean? Shooting each other up, spinning blocks, getting switches, you know what I mean? They're well versed in guns. You can find a young nigga in the hood that can tell you everything about every firearm. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can in every hood because I've been to plenty of hoods and seen it myself. So I'm sure you niggas can find it too. Most white kids don't have no gangs. They don't have nothing to run to and blow off that after that puberty fire that they got, you know what I mean? That when you're becoming a man, that boosted testosterone you start to get, you know what I mean? Those things, I feel like a lot of black kids they blow that off in the streets. For some people, it's just a phase. They get into that phase and they bounce out of it. Some people never have to go through that phase, you know what I mean? But for some people, it's their life, you know what I mean? They'll live that way forever. But I feel like for these white kids, some of them even go to gangs and things like that. You know what I mean? They have the same pipeline, but they also have that white supremacist pipeline. And it's easier to get into. It's easier to sit at your house and just hate, you know what I mean? Hate other people. But it gets dangerous because these people are actually putting it into practice. They're not just sitting at the house hating. They're actually planning. They're actually training. They're actually doing things that are crazy for us to, you know what I mean? And it's a group of white kids right now, probably a couple miles away from you, especially if you live in one of these rural towns or rural areas, probably a couple miles away from you on a farm, training every single week, every weekend, you know what I mean? To kill black people. That's it. That's it. Like they're training like just to kill us. Meanwhile, we got our people over here spinning blocks, killing each other. You know what I mean? Head in the wrong place. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we need to be focusing on killing other groups of people, but we need to focus on us training each other, facilitating that, starting groups of black Americans from the military who could train other black Americans just in basic firearms. You know what I mean? Because these people, you're gonna see how diabolical their planning and everything gets is coming up. Let's get them back into it.
And they were watching these two guys in their apartment and listening to the conversations. They're holy cow, like I thought some of the stuff I heard them say was crazy, like when I was there. But the stuff they were coming up with on their own in an apartment, I was like, dude. I mean, the dude's got a 6.5 Creedmoor with a $6,000 thermal scope. They made a gun, a ghost gun, for the Canadian who had absconded here illegally after being found out of being a white supremacist. And he had a thermal scope, and I helped him sight him in. But they were talking stuff like take out a cop at night, you know, because if you take out a cop, well, as soon as he's done with the car stop, whatever pulls up, boom, just pop him right in the head. You go down there, now you get a bulletproof vest, you get another weapon, you get ammo, you know, whatever things they've got because it was all about building your kit. Everybody's building their kit, man. Some people have got a good kit going, some are just starting. This is the best gear to get. Condor sucks, or whatever they want to say, and you need to get this stuff. I mean, some of these guys were no jobs, other than maybe a side hustle here and there. I'm talking there's no 9 to 5, right? And they've got several guns, a lot of ammo. They've got plate carriers. They're wearing Cry Precision JPC plate carrier. That's the same thing FBI SWAT wears, same thing HRT wears. I'm like, where did you get the money for that shit, you know? Next day, we did firearms and tactics training. It was led by a 19-year-old kid. No military. His dad took him to the gun range, apparently, and maybe gaming. But it was good. I'm lead tactical instructor. Not saying I'm something awesome. There are people all over the United States that got my skill set and better. But if you've had that training and you're an instructor, you can do that. Yeah, we're out on a 100-acre property shooting submachine guns and pistols. And I'm like, I hope they don't turn. You know what I mean? You're like, and I'm like watching from the back. Because when it started, I'm like, the instructor in me, I'm like, I'm sitting in the back because I don't know what kind of. I'll tell you, the guy, the cell leader, Luke, and Pestilence was the 19-year-old. There, I was pleased to see that their range safety was good. It was good, and I was like, okay, I feel a little better about shooting with these guys at least. It made me think several things. It made me think when I went back to the office to run the FBI's training, I told everybody, I'm like, y'all need to. I know we tell you to take it serious, but I just spent 4 days or 3 days with this violent white supremacy group and a 19-year-old led carbine training, and it was good. I said it's not the best, and I did see some things they messed up on, but they could probably get the drop on a lot of average Joes. That was it. It's all about training, preparing for the boogaloo, building your kit, your belt, your ammo, your uniform. Of course, they wore camouflage. I infiltrated them. We wore camouflage, but only Flecktarn, because that's the German camo pattern, right?
Shit, not even funny, bro. I just seen a video yesterday of a dude who was talking about like the Chad the Builder stuff, and it was a white dude. He was for Chad the Builder, of course, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you black people think we've just been buying guns and we're all stocked up, so y'all don't really want a civil war. We're waiting on it. Y'all don't really want it though." And I was like, "Nigga, we will." What are you talking about? But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I know that's a fact because when I lived up north, I seen some white dudes up there that I'm talking about had safes on safes on safes. I knew one dude, he had like 4 safes in his house, full of guns, just full of guns. I'm like, for what? He's like, I just love to collect them. It's a habit. I'm like, eh. And he was one of the MAGA dudes too, full on MAGA. I wonder what's up with him now. But this was back in like 2020. And I was like, dude, I work with him. I was like, dude, what the fuck, bro? That's dangerous, bro. I mean, this shit is just spooky, bro. It's spooky to even think about that. Like, make my stomach low-key turn. It's not even crazy spooky. No hilarious at all. Shit is not hilarious at all, bro. Like, full trainings and all this. They just want to bring just full anarchy to the world. Like, gangs, period, is stupid. But if you look at certain gangs, like, okay, monetary gain, I can understand that. You know, financial situations, that's monetary gain, but like a history, you know, you got family members that were killed by these people, and now, you know, tribal warfare type thing. It's dumb, but it's still understandable. You can still break it down. these are damn near cartoon villains right now, bro. They literally want world domination. Like, literally. We have a whole gang of motherfuckers that want world domination. And who's keeping an eye on these niggas and making sure they're not getting the power and getting in positions like Stephen Miller and stuff like that? Because this guy talks about they did a sting in about 2019, got one of them out, but there's plenty of these groups of them. There's not just one group, it's many of them, you know what I mean? And there's worse ones that have worse ideologies. Once you go down this rabbit hole, bro, it gets crazy, bro. And I'm gonna start making more videos about this because it is important that we know, but at least know. You know what I mean? Because this make me want to start a training group today. Let's hit the range. Anybody in my area, let's link up, hit that range. You know what I mean? Because this is crazy, boy. Like, we need neighborhood defense teams and shit like that. Like, these dudes is out of their mind, insane, bro. Like, cartoon villain for real. Like, but you know what happened to a cartoon villain?
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm black, 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 black. I love being black.
But I will also say that what I learned through time of being in the movement and working those types of cases and developing sources of information afterwards is that when we were doing the base and there was Adam Waffen, that was kind of like the two main accelerationist groups. Everywhere else it was kind of considered cringe. By the time, let's just say a year or two after we took down the base, like we were being told that 90% of your white nationalist groups were all claiming accelerationism. And that's not good. And also, in most accelerationist groups that I was aware of, if you scratch the surface enough, whether they say they're pagan or the Christian identity, most of them is if you scratch enough in a lot of these groups, there's usually a member of Order of Nine Angles, or there's some other groups out there now, and those are heavily satanic white supremacy groups. And when you look at Order of Nine Angles and others of that nature, they are big, at least they're proponents of, and if you get into their chat rooms, you're going to see some horrific stuff because they're big on sexual abuse, rape, and pedophilia. Oh, yeah. And fortunately and unfortunately, I didn't get to infiltrate one of those groups. But yeah, I mean, this is coming out more now. It's just satanic stuff, man. You know. So if I'm painting it into the siege culture, which is that accelerationist view, probably when the boogaloo happens, they're saying they're just gonna rape kids and women all they want. Because people on the base said that. They were like, hey, because I told them, I'm like, hey, I asked, hey, I see we're always talking about this. We're going to get our own ethno-state. We're neo-Nazis. Yeah, bam, 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 bam. I haven't heard you guys talking about me getting our own compound or getting our own ethno-state. I haven't heard any of you guys talk about procreation for the white race. You know what I mean? And I've got a woman, but she's not being shared. So, and that's when the two of them were like, oh, we're just going to rape the women. And I went, and I smirked. And I looked at the one guy who had a girlfriend and I go, you guys don't have a lot of experience with women, do you? And they're like, well, what makes you say that? And I go, that might work for a little while, but at some point you're going to have to go to sleep. And you might wake up missing a few parts, you know? So, yeah, but it just gets dark. You can just see some really bad stuff. So we started hearing about the base, I think originally from our world working partners, because it wasn't just American. It was a worldwide, transnational ties. I mean, we had members in the base. It ebbs and flows. Some come in and leave, but we had members in Australia, Canada, South Africa, Germany.
So you see there's so many of these groups. It's not just one, it's multiple. So there's multiple of these different cells all around the country. It's just like Al-Qaeda. Like, did you see in the beginning clip where the guy was saying that the base literally is what it means, Al-Qaeda in Arabic? You know what I mean? Like, they're literally a terrorist group living within our neighborhoods, our streets, walking around us. Like they said, they're not Republican or Democrat. They're hiding in the shadows, preparing for what they call the bugaloo, is when they're gonna go all in and you see what they want to do, what some of the group's ideals are and what they want to do. You know what I mean? Some just want their own ethno state where it's only for the whites. They can take over, do whatever they want, brutalize whatever other people they want, because you know that's exactly what they're gonna do if they get their own ethno state. They'll be cool for a minute until they want to turn that anger outwards. Second, and they'll do that immediately. The other thing is, it's just crazy. It's crazy that we're living amongst these people, you know what I mean? And then you got the other side of the coin who, they just want anarchy. They just want to murder, kill, you know what I mean, hurt people of an opposite race. Because what he also said, but I didn't put in this video, is that Dylan Ruth, and they tracked a lot of these mass shooters and people like that. They were in these chat rooms, in these groups, in these live wire chats and not LiveWire, Line chats and what is it called, Telegram chats and shit like that. These people were interacting with these same people. So a lot of these mass tragedies that we're seeing, this is these groups. They're just not labeling them these groups. They're not giving the credit to the group who it really goes to, the terroristic threat actually in our country. And why not? That's the biggest question. Why not? Well, we know, because it's white people. It's little white kids. And their parents want to look at it like, oh, it's just a phase, they'll get over it. Like, and that's crazy to me. Like, it's just a phase. Racism with a side of firearm training and bulletproof vest purchasing is just a phase. Like, okay, but let's see what he had to say about it.
And then if you want to say, oh, they're just kids going through a phase and they're spewing shit. Okay. But then they took overt acts in furtherance of those crimes. You know, scouting houses, going by the house, looking to where they thought an Antifa couple lived. I was there. You know, we'd scout it, look at it, talking about what we're going to do. The game plan changed a few times, but you're talking about going and buying catch bags that attach to your AR. So if you do have to shoot, it catches the brass so you don't leave it. You're talking about using a revolver, using a silencer so no brass is ejected. You're talking about research that has been done to the point to where we're going to leave all our electronics at a campsite. We're going to go to a pay-by-the-hour motel. We're going to scrub ourselves, make sure there's no dead flake skin that can come off. Vaseline on facial hair, balaclavas so nothing drops, like hazmat. You're going to tape your sleeves to your gloves, your pants to your boots. And the eventual plan was four of us were going to enter. One was going to stand guard at the front bay window, while me and the other one, I was requested to go and help murder everybody. And it didn't matter if they were kids or animals. They didn't care. And then we're going to set the house on fire and burn it to the ground. Tell me, or you're not going to sell me. You're not going to sell me on the fact that you thought it was just a phase. When, I mean, like at least once a month, a bunch of dudes are coming on your property with fleck tarn and balaclavas and we're shooting submachine guns. And it's not like we're not talking about what we're planning on doing. And then you come down under the awning of the barn and have a few drinks with us and you hear all the crazy rhetoric. And then you know your kid doesn't really have a job. He didn't have a car till the end. He bought it and it wouldn't run that good. But he's got bulletproof vest and ammo and rifles and then he's got a shrine right there in his room, which is the skull that's now been cleaned of the ram that was stolen, and we sacrificed at a ritual and drank its blood and carried its head around. That head is now clean. It's the skull with the horns, and it's got swastikas and other white supremacy stuff with some runes for Norse. And on one side of the skull is Mein Kampf, Hitler's book, and on the other side is the book Siege, which is the whole accelerationist view. That was just 7 months. Yeah, that's more than a phase, buddy. And you can hate me. I know you want to hate me, but I'll say this to the dad who's been interviewed and said some things. This is what I'll say. I was just as shocked when his son told me we were going to go kill somebody. I thought we were going to put up posters and flyers because that's what it was looking like to me. But the case team knew something. They thought something was up. And they're like, but why did he say bring guns? I go, I don't know. But that doesn't make any sense. I mean, and that's it. I went to the house. He walks out and he says, well, essentially we're going to whack some people. And I'm like, it's way different than putting up posters.
And that's what I mean. You know what I mean? He's like, I couldn't believe it just as much as you when your son was saying, like, how couldn't you believe it? That's why you're investigating these people. Like, you should know that that's in them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just sit around and hype yourself up and psych yourself up for this type of shit and then never end up doing it. You know what I mean? It's just a phase. It goes away. These people are sick, you know what I mean? But it's just like in court systems, how young black kids get charged with double the sentences, or not even kids, just black people in general get charged with double the sentences or more time than a white person on the same charge, you know what I mean? So it's the same shit. It's like they look at white people as more innocent, you know what I mean? A white teen does something, they're like, oh, he has his whole life ahead of him. A black teen does something, they're like, yeah, he has a whole life of crime ahead of him. We need to stop him now. You know what I mean? So that's the two ways they look at it. So that's why when they're looking at these little boys, like he said, they're like, I was just as shocked when your son said we're going to kill somebody. Why would you be shocked? You guys are sacrificing goats and drinking the blood of them. He has a whole shrine to Hitler. He's buying the weapons and doing all this stuff, but still you can find yourself in a state of shock. That's that white shockness. But it's your boy Hendo. I hope y'all appreciated the video. Like, comment, subscribe, hype this video up. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me hype this video up. Share this video, y'all. Just go to the share button and just put copy link. That counts as a share, and you know that'll get it out to more people. Also, just hype this video up if you can. If you got another hype to spare for the boy, for like a hobo begging for change. Please, can I get a hype, please? Sir, kind sir, can I get a hype? No, but for real, hype this video up. Let's share this out because I feel like more of our people need to know about this. We all need to know that there's a whole terrorist group out here that America is hiding from us.